Hey everyone, this is Chef Eagle Feather, and I'm here with a client of mine, Linda Hearns, and we're going to talk a little bit about her experience doing a food-based cleanse. And Linda, why don't we start with talk a little bit about your history and what got you from traditional medicine to this.
Okay. I was first diagnosed in 2008 with a thyroid disorder, and the doctors just put me on medication and told me they would see me in a year.
Now, at the time, did they tell you what the thyroid disorder was? Or?
Nope.
Okay.
Just that it's typical, it's common for women of my age to have a non-functioning or a low-functioning thyroid. So I reluctantly took the medication, and a year later I still had the same symptoms: fatigue, weight gain, which wasn't an issue previously in my life. I was very athletic, and I was under an enormous amount of stress at work, and so I was trying to get a handle on my weight. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't able to exercise successfully and lose any weight, and I needed a coach. So I found a nutritionist who is a personal trainer as well. She was an RN. Mm-hmm. And I listened to her diet requests and exercise regimen, and I don't set up myself for failure. So I went into it 100%, and I gained my benefits from cardiovascular and my muscle tone and what have you, but I didn't lose a pound, and I was continuing to gain.
What were her diet requests?
Rice and beans, 4 ounces of protein, meat protein a day, fruits, vegetables, nothing processed, mm-hmm. and lots of salads, and I did. But again, with my work demands, I was not eating on a regular basis. I would go many hours without eating. Lived on Diet Coke in between, and knew there was something wrong. There was something else underlying. So I found a holistic physician. She's an MD. She immediately did all kinds of hormone tests on me and asked me if I had ever had my thyroid examined, and I said just the blood work. And she said, "You've never had an ultrasound?" And I said no. So she immediately sent me to an endocrinologist. I went for the ultrasound, which they found nodules on my thyroid. And from there, they sent me to a surgeon to do a fine needle aspiration to make sure that the nodules were benign.
Right.
So this is a shock.
Yeah.
I was a little angry, but I immediately began to learn about my thyroid and what it does and how it functions. So fortunately for me, the nodules, we switched my thyroid medication, the nodules were shrinking, and they were benign, and I was properly diagnosed at that time with Hashimoto's.
Okay.
Which goes along with some of the symptoms I was having.
And that was how many years ago?
In 2008, 8 years ago.
Okay.
So for 7 years, I've been really seeking to find out what's wrong, okay, and to fix it. I am a fixer in a lot of things. So I spent a year with this doctor, and I took her supplements, and I did detoxes that she had required me to do. And
were these like, packaged detoxes?
Packaged detoxes.
So
and
pills and herbs? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no herbs. They were supplements and the detox formula, along with no eggs, no dairy, nothing processed, no gluten. So I did that for a year, and I didn't, going back, the hot flashes and hormones were insane.
Okay.
And I have been on hormone medication for about 20 years.
Okay.
So that was getting much worse. And she told me, you know, you really need to reduce the stress in your life. So I started working on myself, and I started to try and figure out what I can cut out of my life that was causing distress.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a year with her, and I wasn't getting any better. I was still gaining weight. I was still miserable. I was still having hot flashes, about 50 a day.
Okay.
And during the night as well.
Okay.
I found another physician who did acupuncture and acupressure, and he was a Chinese medicine physician. I stayed with him for about 9 months, and he had taken me off of my thyroid medication, and I just thought that that was a good thing, but I wasn't sure what was going on with my thyroid at that point. Continued to gain weight. I was still miserable. I was still working, and I went to another physician. Each one, I'm having to travel farther and farther away from home and take time off of work, which is stress causing at that point. I went to another very well-known physician who integrated more of a bioidentical hormone, which, by the way, he didn't change the one I was already on. He continued with that. He changed my thyroid medication once again. So each time you go to another doctor and they want to start a new regimen, you have to start at the beginning at the lowest dose and try and find what works.
Right. Now, and this was all in the U.S. before you came to Costa Rica. Okay.
Yes. So I'm still gaining weight. I'm still miserable. I'm still having hot flashes. And I'm reading about other forms of bioidentical hormones, and nobody is encouraging me to or giving me options at this point. Even though I come back with questions, I have 10 questions and they focus on 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I'm still not happy. I'm trying everything I can. And one day I said, I'm spending a fortune, because most of this medicine and physicians are not covered. The supplements are not covered by your insurance. So I'm spending a fortune and basically working myself to death and spending my money on doctors. So I'm a pretty logical person, and at some point I just said, this is not working. So we had the opportunity to move. We bought some property here in Costa Rica, and over the next year I was weaning my employer off of me, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I retired, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I had never been unemployed. And I just said, it's the right thing to do. I mean, I can waitress, I can do anything. It's just how hungry are you,
Right.
So we built a house here, and we moved a year ago, last June. And
Okay, so
we're here full time.
So 2015.
Yes.
Okay.
And I researched physicians online in Costa Rica and found one that's in Escazú. And he is alternative. He's an MD.
Okay.
He thinks outside the box, which I loved right away. I go to him every 3 months. Mm-hmm. He immediately did a battery of blood work on me, wanted to see where I was at and where I had come from, and told me that I had a pretty good diet. He just didn't seem that there was much wrong that I was doing as far as eating.
Okay, and what was your eating regimen at that time?
Occasionally gluten, occasionally dairy, whatever I wanted. I tried to stay away from processed, but it's easier here, but you still have things that you're eating that you were told not to a long time ago, like eggs and dairy.
Yeah.
I immediately went to almond milk, but I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do at this point. So I tried a couple more diets with this doctor and didn't really lose weight to keep it off. I did get a change in my hormone regimen. He went to pellets.
Okay.
And that was a 180. It was very successful. I know I'll be weaning myself off of them, mm-hmm. but they're implants and you change them every 3 months. So,
right.
So I have no complaints where that's concerned. I had lost about 10 pounds this past year, just trying to, garden and be active and do a little bit of walking and changing my diet somewhat.
So now with the recommendations from this doctor, aside from the hormones, did you notice any improvement with the Hashimoto's and your thyroid and anything else?
Nothing had changed. I have poor gut health.
Okay.
It's been that way for the last 8 years that probably a lot longer actually. But to be honest, my gut was always one way or the other, totally on or totally off. And I was just miserable. My thyroid wasn't working properly. I had read a few books on Hashimoto's and doctors that planted seeds that said you can cure yourself, and you just need to be disciplined and stick to your diet. But there again, that was still really difficult to do.
Yeah.
A lot of temptations. It's a social thing. I don't live to eat, I eat to live.
Right.
And it when you go out with friends, you're always tempted, and I suffer from headaches too. So if I have a glass of wine, I never know if I'm going to have a reaction to it.
Right.
So it's a give and take. Am I willing to endure a headache?
And what other symptoms were you dealing with at the time? Do you have achy joints, other pain in the body?
I had swollen, achy joints, back pain, real severe, which I attributed to an accident I had in 2002.
Okay.
Just overall lethargy. I just had no desire to do anything.
Okay. And at this point, what was your medication regimen? How many medications were you
Wow.
on? And
I was on pain medication for the back, muscle relaxers for spasms in my cervical spine, hormones, progesterone at night because I wasn't sleeping, Xanax to try and calm me down so I could go to sleep,
okay.
Wine occasionally,
And then you're on
allergy medication.
thyroid medication?
I was on thyroid medication.
And which medication? That was the T3, T4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a compound. It's not Synthroid because Synthroid supposedly exacerbates inflammation. So over the last 8 years, I've been trying to educate myself and what I can eat and what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat, but it never resonated because it's self-taught.
Yeah.
And you're eating one way for X amount of decades, and you have to rethink everything.
Yes.
So locally here, Sarah at La Farmacia gave me a book to read. It was on medical medium, and I really enjoyed it. I finished it in a few days, and it was quite lengthy. But I really enjoyed it because he dove into how your body reacts to the foods you eat. And yes, you can cure your thyroid problems. And it opened a door. It opened a window for me to learn and grow.
Okay.
And then she also, when I brought the book back, she also recommended talking to you. And I asked her, I said, well, I've contacted Scott via Facebook. Can you give me some feedback? She said, it'll open your eyes. She said, he's going to probably do this and do that and put you on nothing but fruit. And I said, oh, hell no, that's not going to happen. So, we wound up meeting in a mud bog. And,
and at that point, so you were, after how many years of traditional allopathy?
8 years.
8 years of traditional allopathy, and it was time to take control
I knew
of
it
your
wasn't
health.
working.
Yeah.
Yep. And I watched these survivor shows and things, and I said, well, fruit for 3 weeks isn't going to kill me. I have nothing to lose.
Right.
So I'm in.
Okay. And so let's. So you did nothing but fruit for 3 weeks.
Nothing but fruit.
And you're on some herbal supplements to help strengthen the thyroid and so support the other systems in your body. So why don't you let's
2 weeks prior to starting, I started to wean myself off of the thyroid medication
Okay.
and the pain meds
Okay.
and Xanax. So I'm on nothing other than the pellets.
Okay. Yeah, because that's embedded.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your experience doing the cleanse.
Oh boy. It wasn't pleasant. The first week was brutal. The first week I went from thinking I was starving, and fortunately my husband prepared my fruits. He would cut them up for me, and I just chilled on the couch and I read Dr. Morrissey's book.
Okay.
And just tried to let my body heal.
Yeah.
Let it purge and do what it needed to do to get rid of the toxins that I put in there. And
I'll interject a little bit. I've been working with clients like this for, a number of years. And unfortunately, I think your detox was probably one of the harshest of anybody's that
I was toxic.
that I've worked with. It was, I can only imagine. And it's, kudos to you for sticking with it and pushing through it, because that's really what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, so I don't want everybody to think that this is the way it always is. This is a little bit of an extreme, circumstance. But why don't you talk a little bit about what you went through during your detox?
I had headaches for many days, day and night.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like whatever I would experience, I would then the next day or that evening read in the book.
Okay.
So it's like I'm like a day late. So read the book first, then you'll be better prepared. But I'm glad Scott was here, because on day 3 I had been vomiting for 20 hours. And we were trying to figure out, is this normal? What's going on? And of course it was. It was in the book.
Yeah.
And you reassured Lee that it's part of the detox. I'm just getting rid of all of the garbage that's been stuck in my system for years.
Yeah.
And day 4, I was pretty wiped out. I did have to drink half of a Coca-Cola to stop the vomiting, to get the electrolytes and the sugars back up. And that was the only time I had had a Coke in probably 4 years.
Yeah. And you had tried a lot of other things, and coconut water and things like that, and couldn't keep anything down. Yeah.
Nothing at all. And this went on all night long, and then part of the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had talked with Dr. Morse's clinic, and they reassured you that I'm really sick, and that it would be all right. And it was. I stopped, and my energy didn't start to come back until the second week. And immediately, the first 3 or 4 days, I noticed that my senses were changing. My eyesight, colors are more vivid. Smells are very different to me now. Taste is different. My sleep is still an issue. I'm still working on it. It's not as bad, because I was getting 2 hours at a time.
Right.
So now it's better. Second week was getting better. I knew I wasn't going to die anymore. I wasn't totally starving. I wasn't very cranky, but I didn't have any energy the first week.
And that's totally normal. Yeah.
Yeah. And the third week I was ready to start on some food. I really missed my veggies. I had a salad for my birthday halfway through the detox, and it didn't seem to bother me, so that was a plus. I haven't had any alcohol in a month. 4 or 5 weeks. I stopped all wine probably 2 weeks before, when I was doing the weaning myself off the medications. Allergies seem to be better. I have a little more energy than I even did before I got sick. Before the cleanse. Even though I don't have a lot of protein going on still.
Well, not a lot of whole protein.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I am enjoying it, and I noticed that when I eat, I've been eating once a day, and the rest of my day is nothing but fruit and lemon water.
And you're still doing that now?
Yes.
And we're a week since you've ended the detox?
Yes. And I don't want to increase it. I like that.
Yeah.
But I'm introducing new foods, and if I find that something makes my gut sluggish, I go back on the fruit full force.
Excellent.
And I take care of it. No problems.
And so it's been, since you went off your medications and started the detox, it's been about 30 days now.
That's correct.
And so now you're on no medications?
No.
No vitamin or mineral supplements?
I'm not taking the over-the-counter stuff, garbage. I'm taking Dr. Morrissey's
The herbs.
tinctures and the herbs.
Excellent. And how's that been?
The capsules are great. The tinctures are not as bad as I've had some
Yeah.
Chinese herbs. Pretty,
They don't taste great.
no.
But you haven't had any, effects
No
from
stomach
that?
upset, no nausea, nothing. I take them. It's like medicine.
Yeah.
Put a little honey in there.
Okay, great. And so now, for the first time in a long time, 10 years, you're pretty much medication free.
Oh yeah.
And so now how do you feel as far as your thyroid and Hashimoto symptoms? Are you symptom free as well? Are you feeling, do you feel like your body is recovering and functioning again?
I would say it's not, I don't see a difference.
Okay.
Which is shocking because I'm not on any thyroid medication. I should be feeling miserable.
Right.
And I don't. I will have some blood work done on the 20th of September, which will be 6-7 weeks from the beginning of the detox, and I am anxious to see what my thyroid has done.
Yeah.
But I am not going to cheat. I'm going to stick it out and move forward because I feel better unmedicated and a better diet than I did medicated with a decent diet.
Right.
The trade-off is I'm 100% better. And I just, because of the nodules in my thyroid, I just want to make sure that
Absolutely.
nothing progresses.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see what that.
So what is your eating regimen now?
I have the tinctures on an empty stomach in the morning. Fruit, whatever we have in the refrigerator. He's still cutting it up for me, thank goodness. I have mixed berries, mangoes.
And what are you doing for your meals?
Sometimes there may be some chicken. I have had 2 ounces of beef, but typically it'll be a salad, a spoonful of beans, just all the vegetables and fruits I can get, but it's only once a day, so it's going to be either a salad with everything in it or...
And have you noticed a difference when you eat some of the meat? Can you feel a difference in your body, or is your body now to a point?
I don't crave it,
right.
like I did. It doesn't taste as good as it used to.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. But I eat it, and I only want a small amount.
Right.
I don't want, a chicken leg and thigh or half a breast.
You probably get to a point where you won't crave it at all.
Yeah.
So speaking of cravings, have your food cravings changed? The types of foods that you craved before versus what? So, what kind of things did you used to crave when you had food
Chocolate.
cravings? Yeah.
Chocolate, pasta, even gluten-free, meat and potatoes.
Yeah. And now what is your body craving?
Celery.
Yeah.
Celery, cucumbers. It's ridiculous.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, we know that food cravings a lot of times are not coming from your body, they're coming from the parasites within your body. Yeah. So, during the cleanse, we did focus a little bit on cleansing the parasites and getting your gut health, greatly improved.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Unfortunately, during the first week of the cleanse, I discovered that I had parasites and was totally grossed out, and quickly sought remedies to rectify that. But during my reading, it does mention that the parasites are not happy in the less acidic environment.
Yeah.
And so as long as I kept my gut health in check with alkaline foods, that should be a non-breeding environment for garbage.
Yes. So you actually had recognizable parasites come out of you.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's very common. I mean, it's, I know it's gross.
It was in the book.
Yes, it's in the book. Dr. Morse talks about it. It's, I mean, everybody has parasites. The trick is to keep them in balance and not let the bad parasites, run rampant.
True.
And so that was probably made a big difference in how you felt, getting your gut health improved. And
Correct.
And so what is your plan now looking forward?
I'm looking forward to more weight loss. I've gone down 2 dress sizes already.
That's great. Do you know about how many pounds you've dropped?
15.
In about 30 days?
Well, 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Since I started incorporating 1 meal a day in the evenings, afternoons usually, my weight loss has stopped. So I have to re-examine what it is I'm eating, the volume that I'm eating, and maybe it doesn't agree with me. So when I come across these questions, I just go back to fruit.
That's great. And you are completely dairy-free, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you've eliminated dairy from your diet, you've eliminated gluten, refined sugars.
All sugars except for natural.
Okay. And just a little bit of meat on occasion now.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And so what is, is this something that you feel, works well enough that you are going to continue forward with this?
Yes.
Or is this,
Definitely, I will never go back to the way I was eating. I am interested in vegan cooking now.
Yeah.
Something I never thought I would. Along with never eating just fruit. I thought, how bizarre is that? But it's actually very good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you get to feel the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel it's my passion to educate myself and others. Maybe you're feeling really bad because you're toxic as I was.
Yeah. So what would you say to people that, have been dealing with, medical conditions that, supposedly are irreversible and even if not, with your experience of many years of allopathy and then, getting to the point where you're ready to try something a little bit, like most people would say is more extreme. What would you say to other people that are in the same position where they just are unable to feel well and and are believe a lot of the propaganda about fruit and what would you say to them now after being through this experience?
I would suggest that they open their mind and open themselves to possibilities of being well. I am so grateful for Sarah and Chef Eagle Feather putting information on the Facebook and on the web and in our community that gives people an awareness that this is out there, and if you have an open mind and you go in level-headedly thinking about what it is you want to achieve, and if that's your health, then don't hold back. Just go for it. Don't sabotage yourself. Go into it. Read the book. Slowly detox. I just jumped in with both feet. So you're going to go from a regular diet that you've had for years to a totally clean one, and you're shocking the heck out of every part of your being.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, spiritually.
And some people I think are, up for and can handle that. And for other people, you need to take it slower and ease yourself into it and start the detox gradually so it's not quite as severe. But I know I've had other clients like that said, nope, I just want to go for it. Let's knock it out. And, And so in less than 30 days, you made some amazing transformations.
Very much so. Very much so. recently someone told me my smile came back after many years of being dormant.
I was just going to ask, what kind of reaction have you gotten from people that, maybe, because I know you stayed home for a lot of the time while you were detoxing and everything. So it was probably pretty dramatic from when people saw you before to when you came back into public afterwards. So what kind of reactions did you get from people?
The second week, I had a very close friend, very concerned because I had lost a lot of weight and that I didn't have my energy back yet. And I said, well, thank you. I appreciate your concern, but I'm doing okay. It's going to take time, and, I had a very good support group. My youngest daughter told me she's a massage therapist. I'm going to throw that in there. And I went for a massage on the third week, and she said, wow, you've lost a lot of weight. And then she was telling her friends that she introduced me to, and she said, my mom was not well for a very long time, and she had gotten so swollen with inflammation and weight that I didn't recognize her.
Wow.
And now her mom is back, and she's really excited, and we're doing things together. And
Excellent.
I didn't realize that my size had such an impact on somebody that's not judgmental, and she loved me no matter what. But I realized I didn't go anywhere with her for a long time.
Yeah.
She was embarrassed or something. I don't know. But I'm glad I that's gone, so.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. One of the other things I forgot to mention, I was on probiotics for many years.
Prescription or over the counter?
Over the counter, but, well, both, actually. They were some from Orthomolecular or other companies like that only the doctors could give you at the time. Right. Now you can get them anywhere. But that, I found them to be a little more effective, but overall, I was on them for years and they didn't work.
And what were they recommended for? Why were they recommending you probiotics?
For my gut health, to try and get the correct good bacteria going.
So they were trying to help you improve the good bacteria, but not addressing the bad bacteria.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And now can you, what's the difference in your digestive health now that you feel personally?
100% better. I know that if I eat something and I start to get a little sluggish, I just eat fruit for a couple of times during the day, and it straightens it back out, or all day.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And as far as energy levels, do you feel like your energy levels are still slowly coming back?
Yes, I do. Yeah, definitely. Every day I get a little better, a little stronger. And I have a lot of willpower to get out and do things now, where before I just was miserable. I was sick.
Yeah, and obviously, your inflammation is way down. You've lost a lot of weight. What about the joint pain and other body pain, the back pain, all those things?
They're gone.
Completely gone.
99% of them are gone.
And with no medication? No medication.
If I hurt my back the other day washing the car, and it just felt like a little pinch, and I just put heat and stretch, and I'm fine. No medication.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
excellent.
excited.
And we're gonna, I'll post. I do have a before and after picture that we'll share, just so everybody can see how dramatic this transformation was, because it really was dramatic. I've worked with clients with a lot of different ailments, and I've seen a lot of incredible transformations, but I've never seen anything as dramatic in less than 30 days. I mean, your body really did a complete 180.
Yeah. Yes, it did, and I'm very grateful.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you.
So, and thank you for, being willing to come and share some of your life story
scary.
with the public.
This is worse than the detox.
I know. Well, thanks again, and if anybody has any questions about doing a food-based detox, about healing naturally with food, feel free to message me here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.